So malignant stands for something that can kill you, and hyperthermia means excessively high temperature. So first I'm going to play a clip from Grey's Anatomy about the disease, and it kind of goes over it pretty well.
Let's focus on the living patients and not the dead ones.
It broke. How do I get it to play up there?
Should I just hold this over?
It's on the computer, but it's not on the screen.
You might have to exit out of the slideshow.
Okay, what's on there?
Okay? What'd you do? Nothing. I'm just irritated.
Come spike. CO2 levels are through the roof.
Well, what's the problem? Use tachycardia.
Increased heart rate. Patient's burning up. Didn't use sucks, but I did use epifluoride. Ice. We need ice.
Wait now, this is my patient.
Son, get ice now.
Right away, doctor.
Kid's about to go into organ failure. Push him eventually. Let's get some cooling blankets.
On it.
Turn the thermostat down here as low as it will go.
Right away, doctor. Oh my God, malignant hyperthermia. Where's that ice? Let's repack this liver. John, what's next?
Intentionally to relax his muscles. Lidocaine to calm his heart. All the ice inside and out. Only thing left to do now is wait.
All right, let's settle in. Could be a while. Dr. Warren, isn't malignant hyperthermia genetic?
Is it malignant? I mean, is it hereditary?
Yes, it is.
It is, okay.
Okay, so malignant hyperthermia. Okay, so it's a rare life-threatening disease, and it's triggered by exposure to certain drugs, usually under general anesthesia, and it's caused by a mutation in the RYR1 gene, and it's usually hereditary. Well, it's always hereditary. Okay, so it's not common at all. It's extremely rare, actually. When it first came out in 1960, the mortality rate was about 80%, but now it's gotten down to about 30% if caught early. And time is the main key in the disease, because if you catch it early, you can usually stop the symptoms. It affects 1 in 12,000 children and 1 in 40,000 adults. Okay. So it's caused by a mutation in the RYR1 gene, and that provides instructions for making the protein called ryanodine receptor 1. And that protein is a calcium release channel involved in excitation-contraction coupling, which is just movement. So it releases positively charged calcium ions into the muscle cells that stimulate the muscle fibers to contract, which causes movement. When the muscle is at rest, the calcium is stored into the sarcoplasmic reticulum. So, the triggers are all of so volatile anesthetics means anything that's vaporized. So that is a vaporizer. So anything that gets put in there, that could be a trigger for malignant hyperthermia. And sectional chlorine, which is called a depolarizing skeletal muscle relaxant, which also is just a paralytic. So it'll paralyze you. And it's used, so I mentor at the surgery center, and it's used in almost all the adult cases, and in the kid cases, if they're, I think it's called when their throat closes up and they're trying to intubate, they have to use it so they can get air.
How would you even begin to know? You wouldn't unless you undergo anesthesia and react to this, would you? Unless your parents did?
Yeah, if anybody has surgery, one of the first questions is, do you have any problems in the family, like any history, family problems with anesthesia. So if you have anybody in your family that has malignant hyperthermia, you have to tell everybody. You have to tell all your family, and you have to tell all your doctors they know to avoid sectional cloning and all the volatile agents.
So really, it's a surprise, just like on the video for the most part.
Yes,
And
for the
because
most
so many family members have never had any surgery, you have no history to go with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What does the vaporizer look like?
The vaporizer, it was on the left side. That is the, okay, so you put the, that's a yellow one. I don't really know the gas name, but at the surgery center, they always use the yellow one. So you fill up the thing, like that's how you know when it's full. You put it in that little hole right there. And then you turn it on, and then it goes, the highest is 8, but then you can like ease it up a little, and then that puts them to sleep. And you can read it on like the little screen, like the monitors and stuff. It goes by like max, which is minimum alveolar concentration, which is like how much, and usually like 1 mac will put the average person to sleep when being like stimulated. So these are the symptoms. The first symptoms that you see is the increase in the end-tidal CO2. And that's like what you breathe out. So it gets higher and higher and higher. And then there's a fever, which is like for its name, the hyperthermia. And tachycardia, which is fast heart rate. And the rigidity is like the main one that people notice, because everything else, like people react differently to anesthesia. So like it could be kind of common. So you have to look for the rigidity. And then acidosis, which is linked to the CO2, and hyperkalemia. Okay. So really, it's like your body goes into overdrive. My mentor said it's kind of like if you run a marathon in like a second. So like all the RYR1 gene is responsible for the calcium, and that's what causes movement. So whenever it just releases all the calcium from the sacroplasmic reticulum, and then it just goes into the body. So all the muscles get rigid, and that's what causes the rigidity. And then the fast heart rate. So it's just kind of like it puts the metabolism into overdrive. And then the muscles contract and stiffen all at the same time because of the calcium release. And then the temperature goes up because of the same effect. It's just everything is in overdrive. Okay, so cardiac arrest, because the same reason all the calcium is released. And then brain damage is from the temperature, and internal hemorrhaging and failure of body systems, like he said in the video. Treatment. Okay, so did you hear him say like push dantrolene? So that's the first thing that you do, and it prevents the ongoing release of calcium from the storage sites. So that's what you have to do first, and then you have to completely stop the operation and stop all the sectional chlorine and agents that would cause the effect. And then you have to immediately start cooling them with cooling blankets and ice. And you have to hyperventilate the patient up to 100% oxygen to keep the CO2 down, because the CO2 is what drives them to breathe.